The International Baccalaureate Middle Years program will span from grades 6 through 10, so it'll be in all 3 Washington Township middle schools and then continue into the 10th grade at the high school. Parents will see a difference in the classrooms because students will be investigating things that are interesting to them and that they'll be more passionate about what they're learning. They're going to see increased student engagement in the classrooms, students connecting what they're learning to real-world applications, to real-world scenarios.
The reason the International Baccalaureate is a transformative program for our district is that it deals with the 2 essential functions that are at the heart of all schools. Those are learning and teaching. International Baccalaureate will change and improve the way we learn and teach in our district.
There are some teachers, I think, that are already, even before International Baccalaureate came onto the consciousness of Washington Township, there were teachers that were already doing a lot of the things that we're going to see in an IB classroom. But there are also teachers who've been doing, sort of more traditional instruction. And so I think what we're going to see more of is student-guided learning. We're going to see more use of technology in the classroom, an emphasis on global perspectives. Great, so then your lesson plan went right along with that. You had the PowerPoint that laid all that out, and then that's what your assessment was going to measure.
The IB program is going to give students an opportunity to actually discover things that they're passionate about and then pursue them in different avenues. For 29.1, you're going to find your allegiances and your alliances, particularly in social studies. They can pursue those more so than maybe just the rote or general one-size-fits-all history. I think that's going to be really a big part of what IB is going to bring to the MYP program.
International Baccalaureate Middle Years program will really allow for great collaboration between teachers. You're going to see science teachers working with their English teachers, collaborating with their social studies teachers, all under that same enduring concept or unit question that'll guide their discussion. So while you might be studying the water cycle in science class, English teachers might be researching it, or social studies teachers might be talking about the impact it had on local communities.
A guiding question is a question that's used to guide inquiry for the students. Where are they going?
For instance, let's take the unit question of how did we get to become where we are. So while in social sciences class, maybe I am approaching that from more of a historical perspective, or using maps in order to look at where these ancient civilizations were, things like that. Well, maybe in English class they're looking at ancient Chinese poems, or they're looking at the Vedas from ancient Indian society. So they're kind of coming at the question from a different angle, but we're all having the same end goal in mind, which is to understand that unit question.
Inquiry-based instruction is a technique that's designed to really increase student engagement and teach students how to investigate problems and become problem solvers and critical thinkers.
I think what parents are really going to see is students taking ownership of their own learning. They're going to be able to be better learners, and whether they're finding information for a project in school or they're finding information for a medical condition as an adult, they need to have that skill of being able to find the information. And the IB umbrella really pushes that information seeking part. As a parent myself, I would be really excited to have my kids in this program because of the aspect of teaching them how to learn and how to find that information and that lifelong skill that they're going to keep with them forever.
Teachers might present a problem or a scenario to students, and then it'll be up to the students to research and create investigations to solve that problem. So students will connect their prior knowledge to answer new questions and build on their learning, all through the Indiana State Standards.
Italy, right? So you're doing this one? Okay, and then you're going to do the Nazi Soviet Pact, where they're saying, hey, we're starting on this path. I don't know what I'm going to learn, but I want to learn more about it. And hopefully in the end, when they figure out what it is, they've reached this higher plane of understanding. And more importantly, they've learned more about something that they're passionate about on their own.
The International Baccalaureate program is going to help all students, especially our struggling learners, because it's going to allow the students to be more hands-on, more active, more actively engaged in their learning. And it's also going to allow students to demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways and really become actively involved.
这是什么？糟糕，糟糕，很好。这是什么？
All students in the middle years program will study a second language. Students whose first language is English will study a second world language. Students whose first language is not English will be encouraged to develop their mother tongue while studying English as their second language. In the middle years program, the goal is for fluency in the second language, whereas in the primary years program, it's more exposure to language and culture. The International Baccalaureate Middle Years program is an exciting step for Washington Township. It's really going to increase teacher collaboration and student achievement to make sure that all students are successful for the 21st century.
The history of education reform is full of great little programs that improved education for small groups of children. International Baccalaureate K through 12 is a great, big, comprehensive reform strategy that will improve the educational attainment of every child in Washington Township. That's why it's important.
Seed funding for the primary and middle years IB initiative was provided by a 5-year commitment from the Washington Township Schools Foundation. In addition, support is coming from a combination of money from the district's general fund plus federal stimulus dollars and generous gifts from private donors. To learn more about how you can support the IB initiative, please contact Washington Township Superintendent James Mervildi.